Greg Abel's first as Berkshire CEO. Becky Quick joins us now live from Omaha for a preview. Becky is very busy there behind you.
It is, Cal. You know, they just opened up the floor here to allow the shareholders to come in and shop around. They've got a lot of the different companies from Berkshire that are here presenting. Of course, there's a lot of things that you can buy, including stuff like this Squishmallow. This is new this year. You've got the Geico Gecko Squishmallows. So you've got a lot of people who are getting in and trying to buy this, the See's Candy, the Dairy Queen, Fruit of the Loom, Oriental Trading, all kinds of stuff that people want to buy before they can sit down. This has always been a big part of why they have thousands and thousands of shareholders that come to this meeting. And I will tell you, the crowds are pretty significant. People wondered what would happen with Warren Buffett for the first time in 60 years not being the one who's going to be taking the stage. As you mentioned, it's Greg Abel who will be taking the stage tomorrow, and it will be his first time as the CEO coming out and taking questions. Now, there are a lot of questions because of that change, a lot of questions we've been getting from shareholders, people kind of wondering, how will his management style differ from Warren Buffett's? What's he going to do with the $375 billion cash hoard that Berkshire has built up at this point? And what's he going to do with the $300 billion stock portfolio when he's more of an operator and not so much of a stock picker like Warren Buffett is? Well, we got the chance to sit down and talk to Greg Abel yesterday. He did write in his annual letter this year that stock portfolio is not necessarily something where you're going to see a lot of changes in movement. He said $200 billion of that is going to be things that are pretty stable and stayed, things like the Japanese trading houses that they own. If you add up that and their four of their largest positions, American Express, Moody's, Apple, which is its biggest position, and Coca-Cola, he said that's really $200 billion of that portfolio. He says we know those businesses and we know those leaders, and that's why we feel pretty comfortable that there's not going to be a lot of movement there. Of course, we've heard two of those big companies, Coca-Cola and now Apple, are going to have new CEOs. So you don't know the leaders as well. And when we caught up with them yesterday, that's what we asked him about.
We will be meeting with the leaders, in fact, in this coming week with both of them, the incoming and unfortunately the change, but that happens. But what we do believe in, and I believe that's what we had, we know the quality of those leaders. We know the quality of the businesses. The boards are exceptional. They're going to have thought this through very clearly and have the right leader. And time always tells, but the reality is we're excited by the leaders coming in and very supportive of what the prior two leaders had done. It's remarkable what they've done with those two businesses.
Sue Decker is the lead director here at Berkshire. She's been on the board of directors for 20 years as of this year, and she sat down with us this morning on Squawk Box and talked a little bit about how when you look at the stock portfolio, while the value has gotten much larger, $300 billion, and when you look at the cash hoard, $375 billion, obviously that's grown over time too, but she really laid it out in numbers I hadn't considered before. Her point is that while those numbers have gotten bigger, it's a much smaller part of the business from a percentage basis. Listen in.
One of the things that's astounding on all that is that $375 billion of market cap in securities is 40% of our shareholders' equity now at $700 billion. When I joined, the portfolio was 60% of shareholders' equity. So even though it's so big, the company has grown so much that over time, what's become more important is growing the operating earnings versus the capital allocation piece of this. You think about the operating earnings now are $45 billion after-tax operating companies, and a 12% increase in that is $5.5 billion. That's as much as Burlington Northern makes a year. So just growing that, just having a focus on execution and growing those operating earnings can add a Burlington Northern every year without making an acquisition.
Now, Kelly, Greg Abel has been here today. He's walked the floor, met with a lot of the managers of these businesses. Tomorrow, he'll be taking questions from shareholders directly. And again, we're watching to see how many people come through. You could usually count on around 40,000 shareholders coming through to listen to Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger take on all of this. It does seem from the request that they've gotten for tickets that you are going to be still looking at tens of thousands of shareholders that are coming here. The requests were down about 10% from the number of requests that they got last year, but still above or maybe about on par with what they saw in 2024. And we will see what happens with these questions that come through, the kind of answers they'll be getting from stage tomorrow when Greg Abel takes center stage.